Big news. We have a ceasefire.
For now, yeah.
For now. But why does this affect buyers, and how does it affect their buying power? What kind of stuff does this do to the interest rates in Canada?
So the biggest thing would have been, obviously, if the U.S. went through with what they were threatening yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, despite the fact that they're talking about, wiping out a civilization, we're going to ignore that fact, but we're going to focus on what it would do to the market. Oil would have been massive shortage, obviously, because Iran would have struck back. They would have taken out, as they talked about, taking out a bunch of refineries and everything like that. So, like, the oil prices that have already skyrocketed in the last month because of this war would just continue to rise huge, which would cause massive inflation over time. You're going to risk fixed rates going up a lot because bond yields are going to go up a lot. Bond prices are going to go down.
Yeah.
So, like, that was what was expected to happen if he had gone through with what he suggested or what he was posting on Truth Social.
Because he was going to target the oil refineries out there and the oil plants.
Yeah, he was going to target all of their infrastructure, and Iran had said that if he was to do that, that they were going to start attacking all of the refineries in the Middle East, essentially.
So then they would both destroy the refineries out there, causing an
even bigger oil shortage.
Big oil shortage. Right, so the barrel of oil would go up to like $200, $300 a barrel.
Yeah, I think it peaked an all-time high yesterday at like $144 a barrel or something like that.
Okay, and that would cause inflation, which then people would pull the Canadian bonds.
Oh yeah,
causing our interest rates to skyrocket.
Yeah, causing the actual cost of the bonds to go down, causing the yield of the bonds to go up, which causes the fixed rates to go up.
And just from the ceasefire agreement yesterday, how much have they gone down since?
So they were about 3.15 yesterday. Before the ceasefire agreement, they dropped to 3.05 overnight.
Holy cow.
So, like,
that's a big drop.
A lot of easing on fixed rates for going up. Like, there was kind of a stall in the last little bit for fixed rates.
Yeah.
They did go up over the last month, but they kind of stalled out the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But now they've dropped, so there's a lot of ease off of all of the lenders from having to increase rates more than they already have.
Yeah.
And then there's, of course, the hope that a final actual, not surrender, but a final, there's a lot of hope that the final agreement happens between the U.S. and Iran. And as much as Israel doesn't want to do any of it, they're kind of going to be forced by the U.S.
They have 2 weeks to come to an agreement, or is it 3 weeks?
Yeah, they have 2 weeks.
Yeah, so 2 weeks. 2 weeks of calmness. So this is really good for everybody in the market, sellers and buyers.
Yeah.
Because buyers have more buying power, which will give, bigger buying pool for sellers.
Yeah.
So this is good for everybody.
Yeah, for sure, right now.
Now, what would you say? Would you say, should people kind of rush a little bit to get into the market before, in case something does happen in the future? Like if the ceasefire agreement doesn't go through?
Yeah, I would say the next 2 weeks would be a good time to get a pre-approval, start your looking and everything like that. Like get the pre-approval, lock the rate in. Because if in 2 weeks nothing does actually come out of it and there is no agreement between the U.S. and Iran, then this is all going to start taking off again.
Okay.
And then back to oil shortage, which I mean is already going to affect the economy for a couple of years as it sits right now.
Yeah.
But if they can't come to a full agreement, who knows what happens in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it's a good time to get a pre-approval actually locked in at a rate, because if there isn't an actual ceasefire that continues past 2 weeks, then we're going to see those fixed rates probably go up because the war is going to exponentially get a lot worse.
Now, if they did go through with the bombing, how high do you think the interest rates would have gone up to, like 4 or 5%?
Yeah, you're probably like high 4s, low 5s within the next couple months.
Okay.
I would say if they had gone through with it.
Okay.
And like the oil shortage that we're not really feeling here yet.
Yeah.
Because it hasn't even hit like North America with the East getting a lot of their oil from there.
Yeah.
Would have skyrocketed pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I've talked to a couple oil field friends of mine. I know you talked to a couple drilling engineer.
Yep.
They're ramping up. So
Yeah,
there could be a possible oil boom in Alberta, which will drive home prices up because a lot of people will start migrating to Calgary and Edmonton and Alberta heavily.
Yeah.
High-paying jobs, good jobs. So that will cause a boom, all like in everything, restaurants, housing market, the whole works.
Yeah, like we should be one of the markets that would have been pretty immune to what was happening.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of our oil and a lot of our gas at the pumps comes from within Alberta.
Yeah.
So we'd be pretty immune to that on that front. But of course, most of our food, most of anything comes from overseas here.
Yeah.
So like everything is just going to get way more expensive if it was to continue.
Yeah. So hopefully the ceasefire agreement happens. But if you are a buyer, you should get locked in. Now's a good opportunity to get locked in on your pre-approval at least, because you can hold it for 120 days.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of breathing room for the luxury sellers. You can kind of take a break. However, I do still think this is the best time to list your home is the spring market. And then we also have this opportunity. Buyers might rush into the market now that the interest rates have gone down. Because historically, whenever interest rates go down, home prices always go up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have more people in the pool when the rate goes down.
Yeah.
But like the whole hope is obviously that in 2 weeks there's an agreement.
Yeah.
Then we actually get a spring market that isn't messed up by the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
it's 2 years in a row.
that
Trump has messed up my spring market.
Yeah, like obviously we're not the same economy, but when he does anything, like our economy is very tied to America's economy.
Yeah. I hope there's just some calmness for a while.
Yeah, if they have the 5-year U.S. Treasury note, we have the 5-year Canada
Yeah.
bond. They tend to go up when each other goes up, and tend to go down when each
Yeah.
other goes down. So
We've had COVID, we've had the Trudeau government want to phase out oil, then we had Trump do tariffs, and now we have an Iranian war.
yeah, yeah, we were talking about that like a month ago when it first started. I remember me and you like, oh man, can't you just wait till like
Give us a break, guys.
yeah, let us have a spring market. We're supposed to have these, and every year right at springtime something big happens.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there you go, guys. We got a little bit of break. We had a ceasefire, but still a good time to get your pre-approval and go talk to Brad for that, and then also a possible oil boom. The oil sands are revving up. I think a lot of investors might come to Canada for more secure
Yeah, I
oil.
think so. Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be an oil shortage in the world, we have one of the biggest oil reserves in the world. So you'll see a big boom here because, I mean, obviously Venezuela has the biggest, but no one's rushing in there to work in there right now.
Yeah, and if you're a buyer on the fence right now, I think right now you should go in and buy, because if interest rates go down, home prices go up, and then also if there is an oil boom coming and people start making good money, people start spending good money they'll spend money on homes and stuff like that too.
Yeah, for sure. And there's no downside to getting a pre-approval, right? Like if
No.
you're looking at buying in the next 4 months, get a pre-approval in the next 2 weeks, get locked in at these rates. If rates go down, because there is actually an agreement between Iran and the US, then I mean we can just float the rate down. That's not a big deal.
Exactly.
It's not like you're locked in at the rate that you get right now, even if rates go down.
And then if it flips,
It protects you if they go up.
and they go back to war, at least you got that low interest
Yeah.
rate.
Yeah, and then by the time you're taking possession of your house in 3 or 4 months, you're saving a ton from what you'd be getting at that time on the rate.
Okay, cool. All right, Brad, thanks for coming on the podcast.
On the podcast, potential
The
podcast,
informational
that we do every now and then,
podcast.
yeah.